Okay, everybody, so this is a tutorial today to make this bandana style head kerchief. I'm not really sure what to call this. It's like a scarf that you would tie over your head, and it's in the shape of a triangle, so it's like a half of a bandana. Now this is really pretty simple to make if you've ever done the corner to corner stitch, because honestly that's all this is corner to corner stitch. So this tutorial is great if you want to learn how to make this, but it's also great if you would like to learn how to make anything that's corner to corner, really. If you wanted to learn how to make a corner to corner blanket or corner to corner washcloth, anything that's corner to corner is going to use this stitch. Well, I should say the double crochet corner to corner. So why don't we get started? I will say that I did use this beautiful Hint of Silk yarn. I did get it on sale, obviously, at the Hobby Lobby clearance, but it is Yarn Bee's Hint of Silk, and I chose this yarn for this project because it's going on your head and it's nice to have something kind of silky, you know, something that's not rough. It's really, really soft. So I did enjoy making this project. But for the tutorial, I am going to use a lighter color yarn. I'm going to use this Stylecraft Special DK, and it is in this beautiful light blue. It's called Sherbet. I would say sherbet, but it's spelled sherbet, so I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. So at any rate, I'm going to use this color just because it's easier for you to see. I'm using a 4.5mm hook, but whatever hook the yarn recommends is the hook you should go with, probably. You're going to need a pair of scissors and a darning needle just to weave in your ends. So I'll set those aside and get started on the corner to corner. Okay, the first step in this project is to make a chain of 6. So I'm going to start with my slip stitch. And I'm going to chain 6. I'm going to keep these chains fairly loose because I do have to build into one of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we are going to work a double crochet into the chain that is the third one from the bottom or the fourth one down from the hook. I prefer to count up from the bottom, but some people prefer to count down, so it's really up to you. So I'm going to count up 3 stitches. So here's 1, 2, 3. So there's my chain that I'm going to build into. I'm going to hold that between my thumb and my forefinger just to mark my spot. Now the stitch that I'm going to build into that is a double crochet. So I'm going to scoop up a little yarn, insert my hook into that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Easy peasy. The next thing I'm going to do is another half double crochet into the next stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into that next stitch. Whoops. Try that again. Splitting my yarn already. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'm going to do that one last time into the last stitch, or the last chain. Insert my hook. Whoops, tightening it as I go. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That is my first row done. So let's take a look at this thing here. We've got 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and then we've got this chain 3 here. Now that's going to be very important, that chain 3. You're going to see that through this entire stitch. And one of the things I like about this stitch is that you build into those chain spaces, and it makes it really easy, really fast moving. Okay. Let's move on to row 2. We're going to start row 2 the same way we started row 1. We're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, just like in the first row, we are going to do a double crochet into either the 4th chain down or the 3rd chain up, however you want to look at it. So if we were working down, we'd have 1, 2, 3, and then it'd be the 4th one down. Working up, it's 1, 2, 3. Same stitch. Okay, I'm going to hold it there between my thumb and forefinger. Yarn over, insert my hook, pull up a loop, excuse me, chain over, or yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to repeat that just like we did in the first row into the next stitch. Okay, and we need to do it one more time into the last chain on, our chain. Does that sound right? Sounds a little funny, but that's exactly what I mean. So we're gonna go with it. Oh, I went through too much here. Hold on one second. Let me get a better hold of it. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now here's where things get a little bit goofy. This looks a little weird, right? How can this be? Okay, let me break it down for you. We're going to take this part. This is our first row, and we're going to flip it. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to show you that again. Here's our second row. Here's our first row. We are going to pinch it and flip it. Now that we've flipped it, we've got our chain 3 right there. And remember I said we're going to build into that? Okay, so here we go. We've got it flipped up. We're going to insert our hook into there, and we're just going to pull through a loop and slip stitch. And that's going to hold it right into place. See how that works? Okay, now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're essentially making another one of these little loopy-doops. Okay, we're going to do 3 double crochets right into that chain 3 space. So 1, 2, and 3. And that is our second row done. Isn't that neat? Here's our first row. These two make our second row. Now let's start our third row. We're going to chain up 3. I'm sorry, we're going to chain up 6 because we're starting a new row. Every time you start a new row, you chain up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to turn our work. Just like before, we are going to do a double crochet. I almost said a half double crochet. We're going to do a double crochet into the 3rd chain up. 1, 2, 3. So there it is. I'm just going to hold on to that and yarn over, insert my hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And again in the next stitch, yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And the last one, yarn over, insert your hook, get in there, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to join this stitch with this stitch just like this. Do you see that? I'll do it again. This time I'll actually talk while I do it so you can understand what I'm doing. As soon as I fix that loop. Okay, so what we're doing is we're building in to these chain spaces. They kind of blend in with our double crochets, but they're there on the ends. So we're just going to insert our hook and do a slip stitch right into there. Okay, and we're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, 3, and that's going to be the chain 3 that we build into when we get to this stitch sometime in the near future. Okay, so now we're going to do 3 double crochets. There's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. And just like before, we're going to join into the chain 3 space with a slip stitch. Pull that through and slip stitch. Now we're going to chain up 3 and do 3 more double crochets. 1, whoops. 2 and 3. Now you can really start to see that taking shape. That corner to corner is taking shape now. We're just going to keep repeating that. That's it. That's the entire pattern. Okay, so we're starting a new row, so we are going to chain up how many? Bueller. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to work into the 3rd chain from the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Whoops. Yarn over, pull through 2. That one got away from me. Okay, next one. Insert our hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. And the last one. There. Now you guessed it, we're going to start building into our chain 3 spaces. Slip stitch, chain 3. Hopefully I'm staying in frame. That is my biggest problem when I do tutorials. And 3 double crochets. Feel free to slow this down or stop it at any point if you're getting a little lost. Okay, we're going to build into this next chain 3 space with a slip stitch, chain up 3, and 3 double crochets. 1, 2, oops, keeps slipping out of there, doesn't it? And 3. And we're going to build into this chain 3 with a slip stitch, chain 3. I keep dropping that right off this hook. This is a slippery hook, I guess. Yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. You've got this down by now, I'm sure. Okay. And that is row 4 done. Row 1, row 2, row 3, and row 4. And again, there's our chain 3 spaces. Okay, and that's what we build into with every row. I'm just going to check my work and make sure I stayed in frame. Okay, looks like we're doing pretty good. I'm going to start row 5 by, as always, chaining up 6. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Again, find the third one up from the chain and build into that with a double crochet. There's one, and the next one is 2. Whoops, get back here, you. And 3. Okay, now we're going to look for our chain 3 spot. Okay, pretty easy to find. Just going to insert our hook, slip stitch, chain up 3, and 3 double crochets into that chain 3 space. All right, we're going to insert into the next chain 3 space and chain up 3 and 3 double crochets. 1, 2, whoops, and 3. Join with a slip stitch, chain 3, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Join with a slip stitch, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. If you can keep the yarn on your hook. I think part of it is that I'm not sitting in a natural position when I do these tutorials, so I'm not holding my hook quite the same. Okay, so now when we look at this, we notice that the top edge is kind of like jagged. It's kind of got these little zigzags, and that's just the way this stitch works. But this is going to be the top of your headband, so this is going to be what's above your forehead, if that makes sense. Like if you picture like a very teeny tiny little head, you know, this is going to wrap around. Here's the face and here's the back of the head that comes down that way. Does that make sense? I'll show you the example next to it so you can see where we are. Yes, here is the top. And as you can see, it's got this jagged edge here at the top, and that's what goes along the top of your head. Okay, and then all this is just a couple of little chains at the end to tie it. So let's see how many rows I did. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. It looks like I did 22 rows. Now, I'll be honest with you, this is actually a little bit big for my head, and when I tie it underneath my hair, I've actually tied it up into the stitch a little bit. So you might not want to go as big as I did with this. Also, it's going to depend on what type of yarn you're using. If you're using a chunkier weight yarn or a thinner weight yarn, you might need to go more rows or less rows. That doesn't make sense. The good thing about this pattern is that you can stop at any time, pop it on your head, and try it. You know, then you know if you've gone too far or if you haven't gone enough. And it's also a very easy pattern to frog or to pull out a row of stitches. Is not going to be that big of a deal to do. So yeah, I'm going to have you just continue on in this manner until you get your kerchief the length that you want it, and I'll join back up with you and show you how I did the chains at the end. Not difficult, I promise. All right, I'll see you soon. Okay, so you'll have to forgive me that I've already stimped my yarn. I had filmed this next section already and looked up to discover that my memory was full, so I have to redo it. All right, so at any rate, this is where we leave off. I'm just going to end here because This is just for demonstration. I'm not actually making another hair kerchief. But when you get to the end of yours, and it's as long as you want it to be, what you're going to do is just continue chaining for as long as you want your ties. So I think I'll do like 15, 10, 15, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then I'm just going to pull my yarn through, and there's one tie. Okay. The other side, obviously, there's nothing to chain, right? So what do we do? What do we do? Well, what we're going to do is make a slip knot like that, and we're going to make sure we leave enough of an end that we can weave in, and we are just going to join with the stitch on the corner. And we're going to join it with a slip stitch. So we're just going to slip that through and tighten it down a little bit and do another chain the same length as this chain. Okay, so I did 15 here, so I'll do 15 here. You do want it to be even, so kind of keep track of how many you're doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Snip your yarn and pull it through nice and tight. Okay, so the last step in this process really is just to weave in these ends. I'm going to start with this one because this is the one that bugs me the most. Well, that's not very nice of me, is it? But it does bug me. Whoops, my hook wants to get involved. Stay out of this, hook. This is a job for the needle. So geez, I did that so fast I didn't even explain. So this is the way I thread my needle. I fold it over like this, and I just pinch it, my finger and my thumb, make that nice little point there, and then I just wiggle it through. That's how I do it. And then what I want to do is I want to find one of these spaces where there's a few stitches in a row. And I'm not going to find it on this piece. I'm going to find it down here. Here's one, here's one, here's one. That's where I like to weave in my ends. So until I can get to that spot, I just kind of work, whoops, you get out of there too. I just kind of work my way down, hiding my yarn as best I can and securing it at the same time, if that makes sense. Yeah, so yeah, let's see if I can get all the way down to that spot. I just kind of work it down along the edge as much as possible, just to kind of keep it hidden, so you really can't see it. And here I am at my spot where I want to be. So I work my needle underneath all 3 of those stitches, and I pull it through, and then I'm going to go back the other way. But if I just went under the exact same stitches, I would just be pulling it out. So I go over the top of that first one when I work through the second time. And then I always go back one more time. For me, 3 times a charm. And I literally will split through the yarn the last time. I find that it just keeps it extra secure. And from there, I just snip that down, kind of stretch it out a little bit, and now that end is hidden. And then I go through and I do that with the other ends as well. Now on these, you can weave back through your chain if you want to. It depends on how perfect you want this to look. I'm just going to snip mine close to the end. I know that that's nice and tight and secure, and this is going to be hidden anyway under your hair probably. But if you have very short hair, you might want to weave that through. through your chain. I did weave it through the chain on this one, but it still sticks out a little bit. So yeah, it's really up to you. I think it's fine just to clip it down real short. As long as you know that that end is nice and tight, that knot is nice and tight, you can clip that. That's what I'm gonna do. And then this is the last end that needs to be woven in. So that is it. That's the whole thing. That's the whole shebang. That's all she wrote. That's all, folks. All right, so there's the mama and the baby. We're going to hide that end, pretend I wove it in. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. It really is a very, very simple little pattern, and I hope you enjoy making it. Have a great day, folks. Bye-bye.